I can't get over it.
This is me when I put in some effort.
Well, damn, girl.
I know.
What happens when you put in full effort?
Oh, girl. Nobody's on my level at that point.
That's where the. Hold on, we're recording, guys. Let's not.
Ooh, I'm hot.
All right.
Perfect. Oh, hey. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning. Okay, audio is loading. Good morning. Michelle and Alvaro.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
How was y'all's weekend? Nobody. Everyone's sleeping today.
That's how good it was.
That's how great the weekend was, Anaí says. Alvaro, how did it go with you guys and your buyers this weekend?
It was pretty good. We didn't sign no contract yet, but I mean, we were there talking about answering questions and stuff like that.
You show homes?
Excuse me?
Did you show homes this weekend?
Yes, we did as well.
Good. Is that the only buyer that you guys have right now that you're actively working? That one buyer that we talked about?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's the only one right now.
Okay, cool. So today we're going to be talking a lot more about buyers again. So hopefully you guys get something out of it. I think last week we had a pretty good training. Again, I appreciate everybody's, participation and getting involved. And I think that we were able to review like some real life situations right now. We have a lot of situations going on when it comes to presenting that I'm glad that we were able to get through. So today we're going to be talking about buyers again. What time is it? How many minutes are we in? Let's just give it a couple more minutes just because I don't want to start too early. We'll just give it like another 2 minutes maybe. But I'd love to hear about any experiences that you guys might have had this weekend, anything that you guys want to share with the group. Does anybody have anything? You know what? I'll share one of my experiences. So one of my big goals for this year was to be a lot more consistent with my social media marketing. And last month, we put together a plan of, okay, what is it that we're going to put out this month of February? Who are we going to target? How are we going to target these people? And this past week, we put out our first campaign. Excuse me. If you guys follow me on social media, you might just see like I'm putting stuff out on social media. It's just something that Denise is putting out. You don't really think about it too much, but there's a lot of thought that's gone into like these videos and these pictures that we're putting out, the captions, what we're putting in the captions, the call to action. What is it that we're asking the clients to do? And so last week we put up our first video of this new social media campaign that we've been working on, and it was targeted to sellers. That's who that campaign was targeted to. And on Friday evening, I had a client reach out to me. This was actually somebody that was thinking about selling her house last year. She decided not to. And I think it was a lot of like just that exposure. She follows me on social media. She's not somebody that I talk to all the time. She's not a close friend. She was just a lead that I had. I sat down, I met with her, I did the listing presentation, and I really didn't talk to her too much after that. Every now and then she would send me a question about real estate, but she's not like a friend, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, when you put something out intentionally to intentionally get a certain type of lead or a certain type of client, like don't underestimate the power of that. Because I did have my very first lead over the weekend for a seller. And I think that a lot of it had to do with that video or with the pictures that I've been putting out, that if you read any of the captions, they're all specifically geared towards sellers, which is what that campaign is supposed to be doing. So that was a nice little win that I got to experience over the weekend. And I guess I wanted to share that with you guys, so you guys know, like, it does work, but a lot of work has to go in before also. So I know that right now, especially Michelle and Alvaro, you guys are feeling a lot of frustration because of this one client. So it kind of leads me back into what I wanted to say is, get yourself some more leads. You're going to be super frustrated if this is the only client that you're working with. She doesn't have the best loan set up. She's not the strongest buyer. You know what I mean? So get yourself some more leads. That way you're not super hung up on what happens with her or what doesn't happen with her. You have several ways to get a lead. You guys can go out and do your open houses. You can do your door knocking, but you guys already have a very good, strong presence on social media. You guys are such a cute couple. Like, you guys are such a cute couple. I don't say this just to say this. Put yourself out there. Like, let it be known that, hey, we are the power couple right now in real estate. We're doing X, Y, and Z. Time block. If you're going to be on social media, you know, between the two of you, hey, from this hour to this hour, we're just going to go in and engage with people on social media. And remember, when you engage with people, it's not about you, it's about them. You know, who has what going on? Somebody just had a baby or found out that they're having a baby, or they did their gender reveal. Today's Monday, so everybody's been posting over the weekend what they have going on. It might be a good day for you to get in there and just talk to some people, and hopefully you guys can get a couple more leads. I know it doesn't help you with that client specifically, but it'll help you and Michelle with your feelings of frustration right now. Okay, because you're not going to be so focused on this one client, because this one client, we already know you have to be patient with them. They're going to take a little bit longer. Okay. So I hope that helps. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, ladies. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to share my screen. Actually, Ethel got an offer accepted this weekend. Hi, Ethel. Woo!
Yeah.
Have an executed offer this weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
And they tried to give her a hard time. They tried to play hard to get. And Ethel was like, I know your game. Let me show you. I'm the buyer for you. Yeah, congratulations, Ethel.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was great. It was fast. Well, the client was easy because he really knew what he wanted. Mm-hmm. So that's something so important when you are dealing with the buyers.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually something that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it, share my screen with you guys.
Norma wants to say something.
Go ahead, Ethel. Yes.
I want to say something before you guys start. Ethel, congratulations. I'm very excited. I did get a listing as well last week, and we sold it. We sold it in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
And then
congratulations.
Thank you. And then we had a buyer that we were looking for a lot for them to build. Man, esa Anita me tenía así. We got it. We got it.
Got it done. Good job. Good job.
I was so excited, but híjole, me puse bien nerviosa. I was like, I need to work on it fast.
Good job. That's awesome, Norma. Good job. Yes.
It felt good. It felt good.
Right. And so, okay, so you have a listing and then you found a lot for somebody. So two different pending.
For a buyer.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Good job. Good job. Actually, Norma, you might be able to help me with one. I have a client that is looking for, let me bring up her message. So she's looking, but she's east. So she said, I'd like to stick to the east side, but I'm open to any area. She's looking for 0.25 acres. So if anybody is aware of something like that, I have a lead. You east siders, you probably have more information on that. So she said, I'd like east side, but I'm open to other areas. 0.25 acres is what she's looking for.
Okay.
All right. Ethel, you said you wanted to say something also?
No, I saw Norma with her hand and I said, Norma wants to
Thank
say
you.
something.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
Well, I had a meeting with the buyer. They are very specific, so I will see if we can find something for them. They want a new construction. They don't want something used. They want something new.
Do they want to stay in Texas or New Mexico?
No, Texas West Side, and not more than between 300,000 and 400,000. Not more than that. Yeah, and modern style, super modern style.
Okay.
If you know about somebody or something, let me know.
Ethel,
Okay.
remind me that I have to give you an update on Karina. I got an update from her this weekend.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
Okay. All right, so let me jump back into, where did it go? Nope. Sorry, I lost the PowerPoint. Give me a second. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint still? Yeah, okay. All right, so let's jump right into it. Working with buyers, getting your offers accepted. So obviously, so many of us are working with buyers right now. The market being what it is, you know, it's been a little difficult. Let's just move through this. This is everything that we're going to go through on this module. So this is going to be this week's training. We're going to go over the steps in the buying process, pre-qualification and consultation, the art of showing homes, purchase agreement concepts, buyer's market versus seller's market, and getting your offers accepted. Okay, and we'll split this up into two. But before we do that, we have a pretty cool affirmation to spread out into the universe. So I'm going to ask you guys to take yourself off of mute for a minute, and we can all say our affirmation. How did your affirmation work last week? That was a good one, huh? I think it was money flows to me easily and from expected and unexpected sources. That was probably one of my favorite affirmations so far. This is a pretty good one too, though. So if you guys can take yourself off of mute real quick, and on the count of 3, we will go over our affirmation. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I know my value. I only work with realistic, qualified, and
Motivate buyers and sellers.
I know my value, and I only work with realistic, qualified, and motivated buyers and sellers. So this is huge, guys. If you are brand new, this is one of the things that you have to kind of learn the hard way initially, is learning how to filter through your leads to see who's really qualified and who's really motivated and who's not. And I know a lot of times I get questions on like, well, what do I do with this client? Or, you know, and a lot of times the answer is drop the client. They're not serious. You have to be willing to drop clients that are not serious, or send them in another direction to do their homework before they come back to you. This is part of your qualifying process. Remember, you guys are the professionals, okay? I know that so much of what we do we're putting ourselves out there and it makes us nervous. Another thing about nervousness, Norma, because you use that word nervous today, I have gotten to a point where I don't like to say that I'm nervous anymore. And here's why. So physically, what happens in your body when you're nervous and when you're excited are the exact same thing. Physically in your brain, everything that's going off in there and shooting signals in your body, the dopamine and all the chemicals that are moving in the way that they move whenever you're nervous and when you're excited, they're the exact same thing. The only difference is the word and the title that you give it. If you decide it's nervousness, then it's nervousness. If you decide that it's excitement, it's excitement. So this is just kind of a coping mechanism that I use whenever I feel quote unquote nervous. I tell myself that I'm excited. I tell myself I'm just excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. And I literally will just say that in my head. I'm excited. I'll even say it out loud. You guys think I'm crazy? Ask Anaí. I will say this out loud. And she knows good and well that I'm nervous. And she's just sitting there like laughing at me. And I'm like, I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. But it works. Yeah, it works. This is something that you guys can use, and I recommend that you use. It's something that you guys can use, and I recommend that you use it for those times that you need it. Okay, that's just like a quick little tip. All right, so attracting buyers, we've kind of gone over this a lot, so I'm not gonna like dig deep into it, but if you haven't already gotten a picture of this, maybe you can just take a quick little picture. If you're unsure of where to get buyers, you know, where do I prospect? There's so many different places where you can prospect. Keep in mind that you really wanna stick to 2 to 4 areas that you really dive into and master. Okay, so when we're generating leads, you have to get really good at generating leads in one area before you can move on to another area and have success. Okay, why? Because when those leads come in, they come in differently. Like we did our role playing last week, and we talked about, okay, the way that Anaí was messaging her lead on Facebook is different than the way that you would talk to somebody on the phone when they call you. So it's important for you guys to look at your chart of where can I find buyers and make sure that you're picking 2 to 4. Now, if you've been a realtor for at least a year already, you want to take the sales that you had last year and you want to look at them, print them out if you have to. And look at the like the MLS sheet. You guys can print out your solds from last year and then go back and see, okay, where did this client come from? Did I get them from my circle of influence? Did I get them from an open house? Did I get them while networking? And you're just going to go through and see, where did these people come from? This is a very eye-opening experience. I did this. I should probably do this again this year. We'll do that. But I did it last year at the beginning of the year. And I wouldn't have guessed that most of my clients were coming from where they were coming from. Matter of fact, I did guess. I guessed before I put it out and I was incorrect. So a lot of times it just takes you going back and reviewing, okay, well, where did my past clients come from? So that it can kind of like give you that, oh, I thought that they were coming. I thought most of them were circle of influence, but it turns out that most of them actually came from open house leads. When you go back and you actually backtrack it, you're going to see where that comes from. So make sure you're aware of what your strengths are and keep building on that. Okay. You know, you've mastered it when you can teach it. If you can teach it, if you can take a brand new agent and say, here's how we go through a lead and we filter through them and we get them to the appointment, and they can do it well because of how you taught them, now you've mastered that. Now you can work on another one. But until you master it, please don't bounce around all of these, because you'll never get really good at one of them. Pick 2 to 4, okay? All right. So the buying process, how does the buying process look? Real quick, because most of you guys understand this, and these letters are so small too. Let me move this. Move over. All right, we'll put you there. All right. So the very first step is buyer qualification. Okay. So that's when the lead comes into you. So it either comes messenger, it comes via phone call, a friend gives you a friend's number, and we have to qualify this buyer. You know what? They're missing a step here. So buyer qualification, I think they're talking about the loan process here. Yeah, it is. Before you qualify with a lender, your buyer, you have to qualify the buyer for yourself. We went over this last week. You want to make sure that you're getting as much information as possible so that you're only taking that client on for a consultation or sending them to the lender if they're on that step. You don't want to send them to the lender if you already know that their credit score is 500 or below. Like, you're wasting the lender's time at that point. You're kind of wasting their time. We want to send them to credit repair first. So you qualify the buyer, see what it is that they're looking for, and then you send them to the lender to get pre-qualified. By this time, you guys should all have at least 1 or 2 go-to lenders on your team. Okay, we talk about building your team. If you guys don't have anybody, if you want to know who we work with, there's several lenders that I work with. There's really good lenders locally. Lorena's husband, he's a pretty good lender. I like to work with First Light Community Mortgage. I know Home Plate, they have a pretty good team. They're kind of up and coming. I love that there's a lot of them. You might want to give them a chance. Who else can we give a chance to? Talk to realtors. Ask them who their lender is and get their input. Because I'm telling you, I've worked with several lenders and there's really good ones. I have kind of a handful that I use. But get that figured out so that when you send your client to get pre-qualified, it's a very easy, streamlined system. All right. And then your consultation. So personally, I typically do these backwards. I typically do the consultation first, and then I send them to get pre-qualified. Unless it's not their first time buying and I can tell that they're a little more familiar with the process. If it's not their first time buying, I'm okay with sending them to the lender first, because the client is usually more comfortable going to the lender first. They understand the process. But if it's a first time home buyer, I recommend you do the consultation first, because at the consultation, you're going to go over this entire process with them. You're going to go over all of this with them. You're going to give them the sense of, okay, the sense of ease of like, I know what I'm about to get into. I feel comfortable with this person. You know, now they're starting to trust you because you're giving them all the information up front. And then from there, make sure that you get your buyer's representation agreement signed. Why? Because nobody is loyal to you guys. A lot of times it's not even that they don't want to be loyal. It's that they don't understand how it works. Michelle, me and you had an incident with one of our clients on this, didn't we? We had a client that claimed that she was loyal to us. She was the daughter of one of my past clients. We were taking her out to look at homes. We did the consultation, going out every weekend. I don't know had we submitted any offers for her? We might have submitted an offer for her. But she just didn't understand how the representation worked. She thought that it was not a big deal if she saw a house with another realtor. And that was our fault for not getting that buyer's representation agreement signed. If we would have just gotten the agreement signed, it would have been very easy to say, well, you know what, like, understandably, you didn't understand how it worked, but we do have, the buyer's representation agreement signed. It also gives them that buy-in. Like, once they sign, it makes them a little bit more committed to you. So make it a habit to get the buyer's agreement signed. And the way that you're going to feel comfortable giving that to them is after the consultation, asking for the business. We talked about this last time also. Make sure you ask, can I represent you in the purchase of your home? Can I be your realtor? They say yes. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and send you the buyer's representation agreement. This is basically just to show that we're working together, and they just told you yes. So the likelihood of them being comfortable signing this is very high if you get it done right away. Okay. Then you should set up your showing appointments. Oops. Make sure that you arrive early. Make sure that your client understands what's happening. So when you're setting up your showing appointments, I typically recommend only tell them what house you're starting at. Don't tell them like the entire route. It might be a little bit too confusing. Tell them where you're starting, ask them to meet you there, and then take them on the way. You know, just have them follow you on the way, or give them the address and they can GPS it. When we get there, it's really important that we showcase the home properly. It's really important that we ask the right questions. It's really important that we listen. And then once so showings arranged, showing properties considered, showings arranged. Okay, I swear that's the same thing twice. So once they're ready to submit an offer, there's one or two things that you guys can do. If you're brand new, before you take a client out to see homes, please do a CMA. Do a CMA before you go out and do view homes if you're brand new. If you're brand new and you don't understand the market, why? Because you're gonna get there, they're gonna ask questions, and you're gonna be like a deer in headlights. Like, I don't know. You're gonna look unprofessional. You're gonna look like you don't understand what you're talking about, and they're gonna slowly lose their trust in you. So before you go out there, you need to understand the market. Now, if you're a little more senior, you work that area a lot, you understand the market, maybe you don't have to do a CMA on every single property. And as you show more and more and more properties, it's hard for you to do them before you view them anyways. But you have to have some sort of understanding about that area before you take them out there, okay, about that market. Why? Because we are assuming, we're going to assume the sale, okay? We're going to assume that something that we show them this weekend, they're going to want to submit an offer on. And if we want them to submit the offer on something that we're showing them, then we have to be ready on our end. We never want anybody waiting for us. We want like it's kind of like what's the game? Hot potato. It's hot potato. Like as soon as the potato's given to you, you want to release it as quickly as possible. So as soon as something comes your way where it's your turn to do something, you want to get it, you want to do it quick, and then get rid of it right away. Okay. This is how you're able to juggle more clients. This is how you're able to make more money. This is how you get to start using your team also. So if you haven't built your team, well, you're going to have to build your team so that you can get rid of that potato right away. So what I mean by getting rid of the potato is, all right, I'm in a house now. The client loves the house. They want to submit an offer. Now it's my turn to advise that client on the offer. Yes, I can say, okay, let me go home and run some numbers. And a lot of times I will have to do that, but I want to have a general understanding of the value in that area. I want to have a general understanding of what are we up against? Are we up against several offers? Is this a hot listing? Is this a stale listing? You know, do we have time to submit the offer like until the end of the weekend, or do we have to submit it today? I want to have some sort of general understanding. Okay. Then I can say, you know what? Now that you're ready to submit the offer, I can go home. Let me rerun my numbers just to make sure, because you know it's different when you do a CMA just to kind of gauge out the neighborhood than when you're actually submitting an offer. So let me go home, rerun my numbers one more time, and then I'll give you a phone call and we can go over some good options for you. Okay, now once the offer is made and negotiated and you guys execute the contract, then we open up escrow. So that's when it goes to the title company. Make sure that when you execute your contract, everybody involved gets a copy of that executed agreement. So, excuse me, you should, as soon as getting an executed contract, you should be sending a copy to your client, to the lender, to the other agent, and to the title officer. those 4 people should get an executed contract immediately. Do not wait on the other agent to do it for you. Okay, that's another thing. Remember, not all agents are going to work the way that you work. Sometimes you're going to have to do stuff for them that they should have done, but if you have to get it done in order to protect your client, you got to get it done. Okay. And then we're going to open up escrow pending path handled. So at this point, we're really just working with the loan documents for the loan documents to get signed. Stay on top of your lenders. Learn what the loan process looks like. And the way that you do that is by getting those updates as often as possible. Okay. So we're not lenders, right? We don't have to learn the process, but the more you know, the better off you and your clients are going to be, because you're going to start to understand the loan process to where whenever something's going wrong and nobody's telling you, your little spidey senses are going to come up and you're going to be like, something's up there. Why is this taking so long? It always happens that, when my little spidey senses come up and I'm like, Ethel, call and do not stop calling until you get an answer. Something's always wrong, right, Ethel? Because they're avoiding us, and I'm like, something's up. We should already be in this. And really, it's nothing magical. It's just that I've learned the timelines of the loan. I know how long it typically takes to get certain documents back. I know how long it takes to get a response from an appraiser. I know how long it takes to get the review back from the appraiser. Like, there's certain things that if you guys stay on top of it, you're just going to learn, okay, the typical timeline is 24 hours or 48 hours or a week. It makes you understand the process a little bit more, so that when something comes up and nobody's telling you, like, now's the time to get answers. So make sure you guys stay on top of that. And then at the same time, you don't want to get on anybody's nerves, okay? You don't want to get on anybody's bad side, the title company or the lenders. So it's important that you know when it's appropriate to do that, okay? And the only way you're going to know when is learning the process. And when something's up, then it's appropriate to do it. And they know why you're calling, and everybody kind of ends up getting on the same page eventually. But in the meantime, have the conversation with your lenders also, with your lenders and your title company. Don't be afraid or ashamed to say, like, hey, I want to learn this process better. Because now you're showing them, like, hey, I don't want to bug you. I want to make sure that when we work together, we work well together. So maybe have a sit down with your lender. There's several lenders that I've had an opportunity to take to lunch or just sit down with them one-on-one to go over what their process looks like, to help better understand how do I work better with my teammate? How can I help them help me better? So get to learn that stuff. Also, we had, can I get that Del Sol bag, please? We had a training from Del Sol last week, and they gave us these cute little bags. These are at the office. If you guys haven't picked one up, please pick one up, because inside of it, they gave us the entire presentation that they reviewed. They gave it to us here. So there's a lot of information that they went over with us. That's super helpful information that they gave you. They also gave you this cool little checklist. So see, they're trying to help you be more productive. It's just a little checklist, but it's something that we can use. And then there's some other little goodies in here, but please pick these up, guys. That's something that Del Sol provided for us. That's one of our partners. They have really good title officers. Not only do they have really good title officers, the man that owns Del Sol Title is a lawyer. So you might need a lawyer at one point, not just any lawyer, but a lawyer that understands real estate. You want to make this connection. Okay, so go get that bag from them and make sure you're trying them out. All right, moving forward. Funding and recording. So once we've gotten through the loan documents, escrow documents, have been balanced out, funding happens and it gets recorded, and then the buyer takes possession. So make it a habit to explain funding versus closing to your clients. During the consultation is when I usually tell them. You guys can tell them whenever you feel necessary, but always remind your client that just because you've signed doesn't mean the transaction's over. It's until the money goes from your bank into their bank that the transaction's over. I've heard horror stories about a couple that went and bought furniture after they signed. They went and bought furniture on their credit because they thought that they were done. And guess what? Title ran credit right before funding, and that deal bombed. It bombed. So don't let your client be that client. The only way they're not going to be that client is if you guys advise them not to be that client. So just tell them, until the money goes through, until I tell you that it's funded, don't mess with your credit. All right, moving on. Questions on that, guys? No? All right. So step to pre-qualify your client. We're trying to figure out if they're ready, right? So a question to ask would be, can you make the move now? Okay. Can you make the move now? Are you on a lease? What's your current housing situation? Okay. We're trying to figure out, are they ready now? And what's their timeline? If somebody's on a lease and they're already telling me that their lease isn't up until May, they're probably not going to want to break the lease in February or in March. They're probably just going to want to hold out until May. Plus, that's kind of a good time to move because it's about to be the summer. So get that out of the way early on. Check for lease expiration, home recently sold or closing within 30 days. Right. So if you're talking to a potential seller, when you go in and do your initial research on that property, you definitely want to check when was the last time that the home sold. We can get this information off EPCAD. If you go into EPCAD on the right-hand side, I believe it's called deed roll. You're going to get to see on there when was the last time that the deed was transferred over. So why is it important for us to know when was the last time that the property sold?
You can see it on the MLS or on CAD, I think. You can see when it was the last movement.
Why do we need to know though? Why do we need to know when was the last time that it sold? If we're talking to a potential seller. Because we need to know if it has equity, guys. We need to know if the property has equity. Yes, people that bought their house last year will ask you if they can sell their house. They will. Why? Because they were a buyer a year ago. Maybe the buyer didn't pay any closing costs. Maybe they got down payment assistance. Maybe they came to the table with nothing down. It's very possible. Maybe they were VA and they got all their closing costs paid for. So they don't understand that buying and selling a house actually costs money because they had all of their stuff paid for. They might not know. So we need to make sure that we, before going out and wasting our time on an entire listing consultation, check and see that it has equity. That's why it's important for you to do that CMA before you go to their house and get a range more or less of where that property is going to end up. Okay. Are all parties strongly motivated? That's another one. Who all is involved? Make it a point whenever you're setting up these consultations to find out, for example, if you're working with a buyer, are you buying by yourself or are you buying with somebody? Okay, I kind of try not to assume that there's like a husband or a wife because sometimes it's just somebody else, but ask, is somebody else going to be involved? Why? We need the decision makers to be present. The last thing that you want is to go on a consultation, listing consultation or buyer's consultation. And then at the end, when you say they're amazed with all the information you've given them an hour of your day, and you're ready to move forward. Can I represent you? And they say, I'm gonna have to go home and talk to my sister about this because she's helping me buy the house. No. Get the sister in that initial appointment with you, okay? What are some things that you can, I'm gonna test you guys really quick. Objection handler. What if I'm talking to somebody and I'm talking to a potential seller, okay? I'm talking to a potential seller. They're thinking about listing their house. It's the wife. But she wants to set up a consultation without her husband because her husband's going to be at work and she can do it on her own. And then she'll just tell her husband whatever you guys talked about. What can you say to that to make sure that you get the consultation with both of them? Who can handle this objection? Don't make me start calling names, guys.
You can say, no, you can say, well, no, let's see when your husband is going to be at home with you so I can go and talk with both of you because I want to know what what do you think or whatever.
Yeah, like let it be known that you want the husband there. Let it be known. Remember, you have to stay in control of the sale from the very beginning. And it's important that both of the decision makers are there. If there's more than one decision maker, they both have to be there. Another thing that you can do is you can set up a tentative appointment. My go-to is like, let's say she said that her husband's going to be at work. I would say something like, okay, well, I think it would really be best if your husband's present. Honestly, we're going to go over a whole bunch of information. It's going to be hard for you to remember everything. And I'd love to be there to answer any questions that he has directly. Why don't we do this? What time does your husband typically get off of work? He's usually gets off like at 5, but by the time he gets home, it's like 5:30. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do 6 or even 6:30? That way he can get home and comfortably change and have dinner and everything. And we'll set it up tentatively. Let's do a tentative 6:30 for Wednesday. Does that work? As I'm plugging it in. And she's like, look, if anything changes, you just let me know. But otherwise, we'll just have it 6:30 tentative for Wednesday. Yes? Okay. Why? Because if they're serious, they're going to set it up with you. And if that time really doesn't work, you can always change it later, but you've got them locked in now. Okay. Willing. Are they willing? Check for children. How long have they been looking? Right. Okay. So how long have they been looking? This is going to be for buyers. And then for children, like, do they have children? You definitely want to get a good idea of what the household looks like. Children, pets, elderly parents, who's in the house? Understand what that household looks like. Okay. You can't truly help a client if you don't understand what it looks like in their house. You need to know how many members are there, how many people are living there, how old are the kids, how long will certain people be living there? For example, if it's the mother-in-law is living there, is she there permanently or is she there temporarily? You have to get to know all of these things so that you can better assist the client. And then, are they able? Ask about their credit, legal issues to resolve, check for name changes, divorce, long-term job, and income. So this is when we get a little personal. We want to get inside of their finances a little bit, just to kind of more or less see, are they even able to make this transaction? So we talked about credit already, legal issues. So divorce. Okay, how many times do you guys get a client that's going through a divorce or about to go through a divorce? Let me tell you something on divorces. The lead that I just mentioned to you guys, that reached out to me over the weekend, she's going through a divorce. I don't say this to sell anything. I say this because I genuinely believe it. If you're going through a divorce or your clients are going through a divorce, sell the property. Just sell it. Get rid of it as quickly as possible, because we live in Texas and Texas is a shared community state. And that means that the property that we own is owned by both parties, right? a lot of times what happens when one party holds that property after getting divorced is they live in it 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, they decide that they finally want to sell it. And let's say it's the mister that kept the property. He's ready to sell it. It's 5 years later. Him and his ex-missus, they haven't even talked since the divorce. Okay. They haven't even talked since the divorce. They're living their own life. They're happily doing their own thing. Guess what has to happen now? A lot of times what ends up happening is we have to get the ex-missus involved again. And ex-missus and ex-mister, they don't get along anymore. They hate each other. There's a reason they haven't talked to each other in 5 years, okay? Now we have to convince ex-missus to sign on the dotted line so that ex-mister can get $32,000 worth of equity. You think she's not going to ask for something? You think she's not going to ask for something? It makes everything 10 times more difficult. I'm telling you, if you have somebody that is about to go through a divorce or going through a divorce, give them that story, because I've seen it played out way too many times. And I always recommend it. And that's exactly the way I recommend it. I say, look, it's not because of the sale. This is what I've seen. I highly recommend you just get rid of it sooner than later. And then you go from there. Another thing that I offer my divorcees is, if your ex-husband doesn't want to talk to me, we can get another realtor involved. And that way, kind of like, you're both technically represented by us, but like, let's say, for example, with them, let's say he doesn't want to talk to me because she found me and he doesn't really trust me. I can have Ethel work the husband. You know, Ethel, husband's your guy, wife is mine. Me and you will come together and you know, speak on their behalf. So we can do little things like that to help them out also if they like that. And then check for name changes, divorce, long-term job and income. So when they're buying, you always want to make those initial qualifying questions of like, how long have you been at your job? Right now, especially with COVID, guys, make sure you're asking about gaps in employment, okay? Because a lot of people have taken time off of work, either voluntarily or involuntarily. A lot of people involuntarily right now. So just make sure that you're asking about that. And then just know that just because they had a gap in employment doesn't necessarily mean that they don't qualify, but it might be something that you might want to talk to your lender about. Okay. Do you guys have any questions on this page before we move forward? No? Okay. Homework assignment, have fun with this. Right, so this is something that we want to give our buyers. Remember, for our buyers, this is supposed to be a fun process. So how do we make this a fun process for them? First, as a realtor, keep in mind, regardless of all the problems that we have going on, regardless of all the boring paperwork that we have to fill out, regardless of the frustrating market that we're in, you have to keep it fun for your client. What you're doing for your client right now is the equivalent of planning a wedding for your client. Okay? Why do we hire wedding planners? Because we want our wedding day to be the best freaking day in the world. Like, we want that day to be so perfect and so special. And we've been looking forward to this our whole life. And the day is finally here. But we want this wedding planner to take care of the stuff that we don't want to take care of the stuff that we know is going to stress us out, take care of the stuff that we know needs to get done and we don't want it messed up. We're essentially doing the exact same thing for our buyers, you guys. We're planning, especially when you guys are working with a first-time home buyer, we're planning a huge move for them. Okay, just because we see houses come and go left and right every day and sold and penny, they don't forget that. Please don't forget that. You have to keep this very special for them. So, and this will kind of help you guys also if you, I feel like it almost helps your job be funner when you remember this. Because it's now a thing of like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm helping somebody move into their brand new home. Like, how cool is that? How cool is it that they're trusting me to help them pick their first home? Some of these people aren't even inviting their mom and dad to come look at the houses. You know, better for us, but but you know what I mean? It's a big move. So make it fun. This is going to help you help them. So give them a homework assignment. This is typically something that I'll do after the consultation. So after we've gone over the process and they're like feeling like, yes, I think I can do this. Now I have to put in that pre-qualification letter or the pre-qualification application. They're a little jittery about the pre-qualification application. A lot of times they're nervous. Give them this homework also. So, all right, so you guys are going to go home and you're going to do a couple of things. The first thing is you're going to fill out that application. The application takes 5 to 10 minutes to fill out. Don't overthink it, just do it. If you have any questions while you're filling out the application, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Once you're done with the application, let me know so that I can tell my lender to look out for it because I want to get you a response as soon as possible. Once you're done with that, you and your husband sit down and make a must-have list. What is it that you absolutely must have in your new home? You want to keep this down to about 3 to 4 items. Tell them this because if not, they're going to come back to you with a list of 10 must-haves and you're going to go through the must-haves, and on number 8 you're going to have I want the pantry to have a cute pantry door. You know what I mean? Like, help them understand that the must-haves are really 3 to 4 items. Okay, your must-haves are typically going to include what area. Make sure that you include the area in there. Okay, and you have to tell them that's going to be one of them. Number 2, obviously, is going to be our price point. What's our price point? What do we need to stay under? And then you get to pick 2 more. What are the other 2 things that you must have in your house? Must it be a single-story house? Must it be, I don't know, in a cul-de-sac? Must it have refrigerated air? What is it that's very important to them? Okay, and see how they don't have a whole lot of room. They don't have a whole lot of room. They have to really think about it because one's the area, one's the price, and then 2 other items. From there, what's your bonus list? So bonus list is gonna be like, it doesn't have to have these items, but it would be really cool if it did. So for example, one for me would be like the mudroom. It would be really cool if I had a mudroom coming in from the garage, so everyone can take off their shoes there and drop their purses and backpacks and all of that stuff. But I don't have to have it, okay? That's gonna be like a bonus. And then knockout list. So honestly, I don't remember what this one is. Let me double check. Hang on, before I tell you guys wrong. Let me double check on this one. Hang on, because everyone has a different interpretation of what they have to get done. Where'd you go? Okay. I don't know where it even went, you guys. Back. Okay, knockout list is, and I'm sorry, some of these come from, a lot of this stuff comes from Realty One, so they have different terms for everything. I'm just gonna skip that. Those are the big things that you guys have to have. What's the time right now? 11:50. Okay. And then, please. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me move through this. We're almost done. I know this one's not super fun. There we are. All right. And then we go to the lender. Obviously, you guys know how to get to your lender. I will say this, before you send your buyers to your lender, make sure that you ask them what they want to pay monthly. Okay, this is another big one. How much do they want to pay monthly? And you want them to have that answer before they go to the lender. They don't even have to tell you, they don't have to have it written down, but they need to know, because you want to make sure that they go to the lender, get pre-qualified, but we want to keep them in their budget. Again, the whole point of these meetings is to make you guys as efficient and as effective as possible. And if we're going to be efficient and effective, we're not going to waste time. So I don't want somebody going to get pre-qualified for $250,000 loan, going out and showing them homes that are $250,000. And then when it comes to making an offer, they ask me something that they should ask me. What's my payment going to be on this house? And I run the numbers and I tell them your payment's going to be about $1,800 once everything's said and done. And they look at me and go, no, there's no way. I want to keep my payment at $1,400 or below. Now I've wasted an entire weekend showing them homes that I shouldn't have shown them because I didn't ask one question. The one question that I need, don't rely on your lender to ask the question. Lenders are very busy right now too, guys. So don't depend on them to ask that question. You tell them, I need you to figure out what's the most you're willing to pay monthly. And when you go speak to the lender, you let the lender know. Now, if you have a good working relationship with your lender should already know to ask this or to look out for it, but sometimes they forget. Sometimes you're working with a new lender, so make sure you guys ask that.
Can I say something about that? We had a listing, a property, and we showed the property during a weekend, and then somebody called me. They were in the door of the house, and I was showing houses in the east side, and they said, we are here, we want to see the house because we like it. So I said, okay, I'm on my way. So I went there, they saw the house, they said, oh, okay, we want to submit an offer. And I said, well, okay, are you pre-qualified? And they said, no, we are not. So I said, well, look, we have offers on this house already, and you have to start the process. So let's talk with the lender, let's complete the online form, and then we will see for how much you are pre-qualified. And they said, no, we can buy a house for maximum 300,000. Okay, so we need the letter from the lender, I told them. And they said, no, can it be a letter from our job? And I said, no, unfortunately, it can't be a letter because I can understand that you have a great job, but we don't know how you use the money. And that's something that the lender can see, how they spend their money if they are using the money in a good way. So I sent them the online application from my lender, and they didn't qualify for a penny. So yeah, it's important to let them go to the lender, because they can say, no, we have money, we can pay, we have great jobs, but they are not using the money in a good way, or they don't have credit cards. They don't, because they are not residents or whatever.
Yeah, and it's gonna save you guys so much time just by asking the right questions. And again, a lot of this is it's like a learning process, but just take what we have, or take the information that I'm giving you, and just don't forget. If you have to make a checklist for yourself, make a checklist. Actually, I'm going to send you guys a checklist after this is said and done. And after today's meeting, we're going to send you guys a checklist, and you guys are going to have something to review. How much time do I have? 2 minutes. Okay. Let's just go over just a little bit more and then we'll finish up and then we'll save the second half for next Thursday. Step 2 in the buyer's consultation, why meeting your office, safety, security, professionalism, and control. Okay, so I will say this. Even with COVID and the whole situation where, you know, only a certain amount of people fit in the office, it's really worth it for you to meet people in the office, especially friends and family. I learned this the hard way, okay? Again, a lot of what I've learned was just by doing it, messing up, and then realizing where I went wrong. You want to make it a habit to meet your clients in the office. It's nice now that we can do Zoom. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really liking the Zoom thing because I have my home office. I wouldn't have anybody in here necessarily. So I would have to go to the office, but you guys can do everything via Zoom. If you're not gonna do it via Zoom, please meet in the office. Make sure that you call ahead of time and request your space, but for safety and security, for professionalism, and for control. The last one is huge, to control the deal. What ends up happening when you guys are meeting people at Starbucks, Corner Bakery, McDonald's, whenever you're meeting somewhere like that, you give the tone and the vibe of laid back. You give a very laid back tone and vibe, and it becomes a lot more friendly and it becomes a lot less business. And you need your client to understand, even if your client is tía, tío, hermano, hermana, cousin, regardless of who they are, you need them to understand that you're here to do a job and you're trying to get that job done. Like when we're talking about real estate, we're talking business, and this is what the regular process of being a home buyer or a home seller looks like. I need to take you through the normal process of it. It doesn't matter who you are. Why? Because you need to remain in control from the very beginning. So, if you guys are currently meeting people at like out and about, stop. Just stop. Just stop doing it. I guarantee you that you're going to have a better turnaround process if you do it this way than if you do it the other way. Okay. I'll leave off with like a couple of examples that I've had with this one. I was meeting friends and family either at their house or at my house, and I was doing the entire consultation. I was doing the consultation exactly the same way. But then I started, you know, at the end of the year, I'm going through my leads and I'm looking at like, how come this lead didn't go through? And how come this lead didn't go through? Like, these are some really good leads, but they were family and friends. And I recognized a pattern. Remember, everything's in patterns. I recognized a pattern. The people that had not gone through with a sale, I had met with them not in the office. I had met with them at a restaurant or at their house or at my house. Even though we went over the same information, these are the people that didn't close. So take my word of advice on that one. Make it a habit to meet in the office. You're more likely to be able to close on them. Okay. And we will end here. And then next Thursday, we will finish out the rest of this. We have some really good information still to come on this one. So make sure you guys are here on Thursday, please. Make sure you guys are doing your affirmations. Has anybody started doing any type of affirmation outside of what we're doing? No? Let me give you a little tip. And this is if you guys can listen to YouTube affirmations while you get ready in the morning or before you go to bed, like I know some people need it to be 100% silent, so it might not work for you. But if you can listen to words of affirmations as you're as you're going to sleep, leave it playing in the background or first thing in the morning. Why? Because again, there's something that happens with your brain during these times. So we're trying to promote growth within you, right? At the end of the day, we want to promote growth. We want to promote self-confidence, a lot of self-confidence. We want to promote just the openness. And so we have to work on our mind and our mindset a lot. So if you're not actively doing something to work on your mindset, you're going to be a step or two or even three behind those that are, okay? Before you go to sleep, when your brain is in this, and I don't know what the right term is, it's like an REM, a specific REM that you're in. But right when you're falling asleep, that's when your subconscious is willing to absorb the most information. So you don't have to do anything. You can fall asleep. It's okay. But that's when your mind is like a sponge and it's absorbing everything. So do that, or first thing in the morning. Another thing is first thing in the morning, don't turn on the news. Don't turn on the news first thing in the morning, please. Don't listen to anything negative. Before you go to sleep either, don't listen to anything negative. Stay away from the news for a little bit. It's not that you can't do it in the morning, just don't do it first thing in the morning. So if you listen to something like affirmations first thing in the morning, if you meditate first thing in the morning, if you exercise first thing in the morning, whatever goes in your brain the first 30 minutes from the time that you wake up is going to be extremely absorbed into your mind, and it's going to help you dictate the way that your day goes. So significant others, don't fight with your spouse first thing in the morning or before you go to bed either. I'm serious, but it's better if you both know this, just know, hey, we're just trying to keep each other's subconscious clean. Let's give each other at least an hour before going to bed and at least an hour when we wake up in the morning before we get into any kind of altercation.
If you're fighting that early, is that really?
And yeah, we shouldn't
for you.
We shouldn't be fighting that early, but hey, it happens. It happens. So no judgment. It happens. I know. But now if you both know, then hey, it's my hour. But that's it, you guys. I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful Monday. I have a question for you. I am going to Santa Fe this weekend, and I am looking to network with good realtors out there. Does anybody know any good realtors that I can meet out in Santa Fe? No? No? All right. Well, I thought I would ask. That's it, you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Make sure that you're working your leads, work your numbers, go back to that first page. And who are you going to talk to? Who are you going to target? Who's your target audience? Go back and check out your previous sales. Where did those sales come from? Figure out where your strengths are and work on that. Yes.
Denise, just a question real quick. There's this person that wants to list his house, but he's in forbearance program with his mortgage. So he got initially he got 3 months, and then he extended it another 3, and then another 3. So he's like $18,000 that it's due next month.
Oh.
Is that do they put that as a lien, or is this just part of the mortgage?
It's just part of his mortgage.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, at least it's not a lien.
Does he have equity in the property?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Are you guys going to be able to get it up in time?
Well, we're meeting this next weekend and to present the numbers and everything, and he's more likely willing to list the house, and he wants to just sell it like right away. With
those, it's super important that you get in there ASAP. Like, I know you already have your appointment for the weekend, but it does seem a little far for me. Cause you want to get in there like yesterday. Those are really like, I have to get in here. If you're going to have a chance at listing it and selling it, like we need to do this 2 months ago. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, let me know, and we can also give him a cash offer. where we can close on it sooner, but he's going to take a loss on it. So it's going to depend on if he's even able to do that. But let me know how it goes. If you guys get that, I personally, if it was me, I would try to move his listing appointment forward.
Okay.
He's in a situation where he needs that thing gone.
Mhm.
And one, if he talks to another agent between now and Friday or Saturday, and if they understand the sense of urgency, they're going to get in there that same day, because you really do need to be in there already. And then two, if he does decide to list, the homework that you're giving him, that's what he should be doing on the weekend, not meeting with you. He's going to have one weekend to get it together and put it up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, because we're still waiting on the payoff.
Does he know more or less what it is?
He has his last statement. Yeah.
That's okay. You can start working with that in the meantime. The payoff, I mean, you're going to need it, but get in there.
Mhm.
He needs you in there already.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he works in Odessa, I think, but he's like, if I need to come back, I will. I mean, sooner.
You don't even have to be there. Tell him like, hey, is there somebody that can give me access into the house? I just need to look at it.
Yeah, the wife is there.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Dang. Well, good luck to you and your client. I hope everything's
Thank you.
okay with them.
Hopefully.
Mhm.
All right. All right, bye. Bye, guys. Enjoy your week. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.